what's something you can share with man, woman, or family member as far as for them, whether they, get in touch with us or not, to encourage them to maybe pursue something greater for themselves in the new year?
Wow, there's so many going through my head. If I had to pick one is
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. The show is going to encourage, challenge, maybe even provoke you to step outside of your comfort zone and take more action to better improve yourself and your health. I'm your host, Mark Avens, and in this crazy world that keeps pushing a narrative for people to be soft and weak and sicker and unhealthier. I wish healthier, but unhealthier and more dependent than ever. The goal and intent of this show is to help you navigate through this so that you can become braver today than you were yesterday. Now, we have all kinds of different shows, and instead, I'm just going to jump right into today's, which is a Brave guest interviews. And this is a show that what I feature is having brave people that I look up to and admire who are not only brave today, but are also helping many people become braver today than they were yesterday. So let's jump right in. Welcome, Lanette. I won't say Coach Lanette yet, so we won't give it out that you are a coach with us in our Brave movement. But Coach Lanette and I got started, we met about 3.5 years ago, I believe. Before we get into that story, I'd love to just kind of open it up by sharing a little bit about yourself, kind of background, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it's so good to be here, Mark. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I live in Oklahoma, but currently I am in Syracuse, New York. And my daughter is going to school here to get a double master's degree with the Army. And we're here with my daughter, son-in-law, and 2-year-old granddaughter. So Steve and I came up for the Christmas holiday, which is just lots of fun. But
Awesome.
so yeah, I'm really excited to be here. So a little bit about myself. I'm 62 and I'm bionic, fully bionic as far as both hips are replaced. And I taught high school for 25 years. And what was it, about a year and a half now? I was refired. And that's what Papa
Nice.
Luch always says. I'm not retired. I just changed. I'm still teaching, which is awesome. I just teach a different clientele now than that. But I've always been active. I grew up in a very active family. My grandmother taught me how to water ski when I was 6, and we slalomed and water skied and hiked and just had a great time together. And my mom is very active. And anyway, my grandmother was active until she passed away. And at the age of 89, she stopped water skiing at 86.
Wow.
So I had some big shoes I wanted to fill, just to be as happy and healthy as I can. I did bodybuilding. I've run 3 marathons, several half marathons, and all of a sudden my back and hip started hurting. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, excruciating pain. Finally figured out that I had to have a full hip replacement. And I'm like, what? What?
How old
And
were
they
you when you had that
50,
first one?
I was 57, 57. And, just
Too
couldn't,
young to be then thinking
it's
not to be
too
water
young.
skiing and yeah, all
It's
that stuff.
like, no, I have too many activities. My daughter was married, my son was getting ready to get married, and I'm like, yeah, no. My son's military also, and I'm like, no, they're active and I want to be active. But I gained 50 pounds, and all this was during the course of COVID, or right before COVID. I gained 50 pounds, was able to lose 30 of it on a very unhealthy, because I wanted to dance at my son's wedding and I didn't want to look back at pictures going, yeah, I don't want to be that person. So
So you're
I
starving yourself
lost
skinny, is that it?
no, it was taking, I won't mention names, but taking supplement drinks and fasting. And I lost 30 pounds in 4 weeks. Um, Came right back on after my hip surgery. And I was like, yeah, no. Then COVID happened and I put all that weight plus some back on.
Yeah, well, before we get
And
into kind of what happened after the journey,
yeah.
I'm curious, like I never asked you this because I know, we've known each other for a few years now. How did your family get into so were you running a tight ship in military operations at home for want your kids to go in, or just what
Yeah.
was it that both your
Good,
kids that wanted to get in
good
the military?
question. My grandfather and Steve's grandfather were both in World War II.
All right.
And, we did grow up, very pro-American, very, well, my kids grew up on Rocky and Rambo and all the NCIS movie,
Nice.
shows. So it's like, anything that would be like, yeah, America.
Yeah,
Um,
awesome.
and then all of a sudden my daughter went, yeah, I think I want to go Army. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. But first of all, she went nothing against Marines, but she wanted to enlist in the Marines, and we're like, yeah, no, you're going to college. And so we figured out, I learned fast forward the ROTC system, and she got a full scholarship to be in ROTC. And then my son followed in his big sister's footsteps. So both my kids are active duty Army.
That's awesome. Well, we are very much appreciative of their service as well. And, way, way back, right? And you think of the people that were in wars and fighting. My dad was also, he was Navy and, he was in Vietnam and did fight for a country. And I think people that maybe grow up in military families or at least been a part of military family first, they understand the importance and value. And again, it goes to kind of compliment why I'm having you on here about being brave today and braver today than you were yesterday. And I can definitely attest to at least the last 3 years that I've seen that show up for you and for a lot of other people. And then also in your family. I remember we had a conversation a while back and we had 4 generations, I
Right.
believe, on the call, which was really awesome to see. 4 generations of brave women. And even that little one has no idea just yet the brave family that she's been in, and it's pretty awesome to see. And we need more of that, right? We need
Oh,
more brave
absolutely.
men and women, young people as well, even starting out at a young age, which is really cool. Let's transition. I'd love to hear. So you shared with us putting weight on, being a teacher. I'd love to know, like in the teaching years, in that, what made you want to get into teaching?
Well, that was not my first plan, believe it or not. I went to school at Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, and met my husband there. My degree was in international fashion marketing, and I worked retail, loved it. Got to go to school in Paris, France, right out of college for
Wow.
3 months. It was the American Fashion Institute, and it was fabulous. And came home, got a job. Steve and I were not together at that point, and I was working a 3 state area selling merchandise, working the Dallas Apparel Mart, and just really enjoying. Steve and I got back together, and he was traveling 5 states. I was traveling three, and we
Wow.
decided that if we wanted to make something work, one of us needed to stay home.
Mhm.
And I was able to find career tech, which allowed me to get my teaching certification along with my master's degree. And a lot of the things in sales and marketing that I had already done in international fashion marketing was, pulled right in. So I didn't have to take as many courses. Loved it. I was
Yeah.
the DECA teacher, which is all things marketing, did that for 25 years and loved it up until COVID hit.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's where we had the pleasure to meet, and that
That's
kind of
right.
starts a new direction of being brave. And so, just to kind of give you guys that are listening, reference point is she had shared about COVID and shared about putting weight on, and Lynette also shared about kind of doing it the wrong way at the time. So, what was it like to this next step, like this next point before we got connected? What was it that just made you decide? Because a lot of times people either live in their misery or live in their disappointment or upset and, live in being overweight or just kind of say, hey, it is what it is. I'm older now. So, what was it for you? And it kind of based on your history here, and I'm sure you guys already know, just based on listening to her and having a grandma that's been, was water skiing at 86, I think, or what have you.
Yes.
So that was already kind of there to keep pushing, right? So I'm just curious, like, to hear from you. What was it that made you decide, like, you know what, this isn't enough. I need to improve.
I was miserable. I've always been very outspoken, very conscientious, very confident, obviously with a background and love for clothing. I enjoy clothing. I enjoy working out. I enjoy looking good in my clothes. And I was not me. I did not like me at all, being 50 pounds overweight. And you go through everything, feeling sorry for yourself, and being mad at the world until finally Steve and I had a discussion, and he's like, nobody can make you happy but you. And I love you, but you're going to have to figure it out. And during that time, COVID, where I taught, and again, I'm not going to go into specifics of school districts,
Bottom
we,
line, it was really hard for all teachers across the board. And I'm not
oh,
a teacher, but I
it was
saw it
horrible.
firsthand. Yeah. Yeah.
It was horrible. So we were having Zooms talking to ourselves because no one showed up. Unfortunately, the joke of this may or may not be coffee in your coffee cup, it wasn't coffee. So eating too much, drinking too much, feeling sorry for yourself, not exercising because it's like, wow, why bother? Until Steve and I talked, and I'm like, I don't like me, so why would anyone else like me? And I got to fix this. And all this time, I had been following you and was very resonated with. You're very blunt, you're very true, and the program and everything that you were talking about was a lifestyle. It's something that was not a fad diet, because I've tried it all. You name it, I've done it. Weight Watchers, I've been on 3 times. And it was something that I felt like I could live with. And I called you up and said, tell me about it.
Well, then I'll never forget the picture you sent me. And I don't know if it was through Messenger or somehow he sent it to me. And it was a woman with the arm, like the guns with the red. I think she had like
Rosie the
bandana.
Riveter.
Rosie, yeah. And she had the arms there. And then I'll never forget you shared. And I think it was either first or second conversation before we got you started is I'm going to be 60. This is back when you're 59 when you started. And you're like, on my 60th birthday, I want to wear these hot leather skirt for my 60th birthday. Can you help me get in it? Can you help me get back to it? I was like, yeah. I was like, but again, you have to do the work. If you're willing to do the work and show up for yourself on a regular basis and listen to and be coachable, then you can do this and we can help you get there. So that's kind of the next stage is what happened, right? And you jumped all in. You went all in. I think what I'm hearing too when you shared, and it's a lot of what we hear often, and now as a coach, and just kind of to spoiler alert, Coach Lanette is one of our success coaches in our program. If you didn't know or didn't see or follow or see success from some of the students that we've had that have been coming through, and Coach Lanette not only has helped transform their bodies, but she's done it after even transforming her own, which has been just really amazing to see as a coach from my end. Well, one of the things it sounds like, and it's typically the case, and this is for if you're listening, is what it sounds like is the pain of change was not nearly as painful as for you to stay where you were, the pain of staying the same. And that I think is
Oh,
usually the
absolutely.
tipping point for you is that I need to do something because it's more painful to stay here where I know I don't belong and know it's not I'm not happy with, and I know it's not the real me. It's hiding underneath, feeling less, being depressed, whatever it was, all those things.
All
And
the above.
that's the shift, right? Like I think that's the shift is it's easy to maybe say, well, I want to lose a little bit of weight and then just do a diet, right? When you don't really,
Mhm.
you just focus on the solution being the diet or your solution being the pill or the medication, when in reality, you still have to change your mindset. You still have to change the
Right.
direction of why you want to do this. So I'd love to hear, we're not going to talk about the whole story, but let's maybe just kind of summarize. So what happened like in the time we worked together, just briefly, because I want this to be more about you, not necessarily about the coaching program. Reality,
Right.
she kicked ass, she got great results, but like let's just share in the time frame of 6 to 12 months what happened in that time frame.
We'll go back a little bit further than that. I was diagnosed with having to have my other hip replaced. And
Mm.
I'm just like, okay, fine. Well, at that point, I'd already lost 40 pounds. So, I knew what I needed to do. And I was like, let's just get it done and go on with the rest of our lives. But during that time frame, Steve and I wanted to look forward and see, okay, we want to be hiking, we want to be biking, we want to do everything that we possibly can do into our 80s. But then my granddaughter was born, and I wanted to be like my grandmother in that, she rode roller coasters with me. She played with me. She went water skiing with me. I wanted to be that kind of Gigi, and that's what I
Nice.
am. And just like last night, we saw her, and the first thing she did was, Gigi, come over with these arms outstretched. And she's almost 40 pounds now. And I picked her up, and she went up, up. So I was able to lift her up over my head and swing her down, put her legs around my hips and waist, and sling her down and bring her back up. And she giggled, and I call her my giggling dumbbell. That's my why.
That's
That's what I
awesome.
want to do.
Awesome. So that actually happened through the time that you were already working on it. So you weren't even thinking about that necessarily. You probably hoped at some point you'd be a Gigi. That's awesome. And that also solidified kind of the decision you made for yourself to improve the path that you were on, which actually
Hmm.
just kind of reinforced some of those reasons why, right? Because I know it wasn't the only
Oh,
reason why, but it definitely helped.
oh,
And
absolutely.
and that's another kind of strong point is to have a strong why. So I know for one of yours, and I hear it all the time, and I can see you light up when you started to talk about her that she sees. And I hope I don't have grandchildren, but I hope God will bless at some point my wife and I with grandchildren. And I think about that now as a 51-year-old who doesn't have grandchildren. Is I don't want to be the poppy or whatever they call me at the some point on the sidelines that can't get involved, because I've seen that happen with my parents. And one parent was able to really be a part of it and physically be active, and one that really wasn't. And I see the difference that made in their relationship, which was, for me, it was enough to say, well, I want to choose to be a part of if I do get the opportunity, blessed with grandchildren at some point. That's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. So let's kind of maybe fast forward. So, over the time, and just to give you kind of like this, the updated, you guys that are listening, the updated kind of direction, our coaching business was growing. I needed help. I needed backup. And I had a few people behind the scenes helping me, but also as a business owner, I needed to grow the business. In order to do that, I had to do less coaching and more business. So I needed to find some really good people, good core values, success. And there's Coach Lanette. So we had a conversation. It was after the first year, you got back into the second year and you reinvested yourself in another year of coaching.
Right.
Because you had other goals to achieve and succeed. And why she ended up becoming one of our success coaches was because she was already helping people in our program, because she was an inspiration. And that's truly, I believe, put yourself in an environment where other people are succeeding and you can't help but succeed. So that's
Right.
great, since Lynette was succeeding already and crushing her goals and fitting into bikinis again, right? After your
Uh-huh.
60th,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
looking better than some of her friends that are 10 and 20 years younger than her, and saying, what the heck are you doing? And like, I'm doing me, I'm doing it. She became one of our success coaches and started to help other women succeed on their journey, which has been really awesome to see. Let's take it fast forward now, like now 3 years, 2.5, 3 years later. Share with me, like, where's the direction, your health, your fitness? I know you shared with your granddaughter and your family, but I'd love to know kind of the transformation. What are the things you're doing now as a 62-year-old strong, brave woman? I already kind of spilled the beans. You're helping women on our program. Well, what else? What are some things that have been exciting that you can share to just inspire others as well, to be braver
Well,
today than they were yesterday?
oh, absolutely. Steve was asking me what I wanted to do for my 62nd birthday, which was back in November. And, I told him, I said, you're going to be gone. My mom's going to be gone. And my dad is, he wanted to take me out to eat lunch. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I said, I want to get the other two coaches that are now my best friends, one in Texas and one in North Carolina, to come and spend the weekend with me. And they did. We were able to do a ropes course, and it was, oh my goodness, so much fun. And
So
we were the
explain what
only
a ropes course is, because I know some people may not know
It
what a
was
ropes course is.
six. So we were all tethered into harnesses, and it was six consecutive exercises or activities, 30 feet in the air. And one of them was just crazy. We went, you want us to do what? It literally was a skateboard that was attached to ropes that we were hanging on to. It's skateboarding across to the other side. I'm
Skateboarding at
like, oh,
62. Phenomenal.
I know.
Up at
At
30
30
feet
feet
in
in
the
the
air.
air.
So
It
good.
was it was crazy.
Well, why would
And
anybody
one
want
of
to
the
do
coaches,
that? Wait, why would anybody at 62 want to do that, Lynette?
why not? It's because
Exactly. I
I'm not
exactly.
I'm not going to be the one sitting on the sidelines watching everyone. It's like, no, I want to go and do. I want to play. It's
Yes.
more fun to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah,
So
that was so
we
cool.
did that, and then this last week I was in New York City with a long time friend of mine who has always been active. And she said, I want to really kickstart my activity level. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. And so in the course of 3.5 days, we walked 37.5 miles.
In how
37
many
and a
days?
half
In
miles.
3.5 days?
Yeah, 87,952 steps.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know, like, were you sore?
No, not really.
Why? Why were you not sore?
Because was not new to me. You get up every day and you just keep moving. You
Yeah,
just keep
Lynette's been
moving.
doing, 8 to 10,000 plus steps every day for the last year, because it's part of our program. Because when you move more, you feel better. When you feel better, you want to move more. I mean, it's just a natural part of
Absolutely.
life. So, and to be able to experience probably so much more than the person that has to, I mean, you could explore any city on a bus, or you can get on a cab and drive around and stuff, but you actually did it. And like, look, if you go to New York, chances are you're going to put some weight on because all the good food, the pizza, the desserts, all this, no, what happened?
I lost a pound. I lost a
Lost a
pound.
pound. But
Boom.
were you
And then
dieting while you dieting on that trip? No.
I ate everything I wanted. Now it's all about choices because it's like, how bad do I want this versus this? But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was enjoying myself.
Yeah,
It was
so good,
fun.
which is all, and that's what it's all about, right? So let me ask you this, as this being, had you come on because you are braver today than you were yesterday. What's something that you can share with the audience to help them? Because they might not be in your shoes. They might not have the family experience. They might not have people that have inspired them. They didn't have an 80-year-old grandmother who water skied, or family that were, regiment, or even children who inspire you because they're, fighting for our country and our freedom and that sort of thing. So what about that person that maybe doesn't have all those things in place, or even in a coaching program to help them become braver today? What would be something that maybe you could share would help them?
Oh, find your why and really do some soul searching because I had to do some soul searching, especially around COVID. The second time I put 50 pounds on, where do I want to be? Where did I want to be? Where do you want to be in the next year, 5 years, 10 years? And make a plan. It's all about choices. I mean, it really is about choices. I knew that I did not want to be the person sitting on the sideline watching everyone and watching my life. I know enough about me that's like, no, I want to be in the big middle of it, having fun, laughing, screaming on roller coasters, which I got to ride 2 weeks ago, which was so
Awesome.
much fun.
Yeah, and then
So,
like the why is good, and we don't want to sugarcoat this because I think, and I say this in a sense where, and we want to make sure that people realize you've worked your butt off. It's been not easy. It's not been an easy
no,
3 years is for you. And you didn't even mention your foot surgery where we saw you skating
that's
around
true.
your front yard that were yeah, you didn't even remember that, right? Like that's
It's
we
right.
talked
I
about
didn't.
last week, right? About time to reflect and to think back of how much you've already gone through. Not just survive. It's not about surviving. It's kind of like we tell our inner circle is that it isn't about maintaining. There's no maintaining your life. You don't maintain your life because time keeps ticking, right? What
Right.
you're thinking about is how do you sustain it? And it's hard. You have to work through those challenges. In that
Not
essence,
sustain. I want to move forward. I
you
want to
want to
thrive.
even thrive. Yeah, you want to even do better. Sustain like your results that you've already gotten
Right.
and then continue to thrive. Cool.
Yes.
If you could share what's something that you've helped you over, or not helped you, but what's something that you had to overcome, maybe recently or in the last year, something that you might think that would come up for somebody that would challenge them to get in the way.
Um,
Not personally, because I know you, but I'd love maybe something that's on top of your mind that you might want to share or not.
just making the choice every day to get up because even though I do, it's still a choice every day because when it's cold outside and I don't like cold, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get out. I don't want to get moving. But I also know what that's going to do for me. So it's a conscious choice to get up every day and do something, to move,
Yeah. What's
to
your
make
slogan?
that choice. Well, that's my hashtag, keep moving.
There it is. Keep moving, right? I mean, even when you don't want it, you keep moving,
You just
right? You
keep
don't want to do it.
moving.
Yeah, I mean that's really the bottom line too, is the difference, honestly, and in being in an environment where you can succeed. A lot of times we get people that come in that don't have a good environment where they can actually thrive and keep moving, or maybe even consider themselves eating healthier because they'll have be ridiculed or be looked down on or what have you for whatever reason. I don't know. But, I know sometimes the environments that people are living in, their work environments, their family environments, their relationship environments suck. They just are terrible. And it's
Yeah.
not really anywhere to be inspired, encouraged, or even want it. Like, forget it. I'm not even going to move. Who cares? Nobody's going to care if I do or don't. Right.
Right. And I still have friends, long time, really good
Yeah.
friends, but they're like, why do you want to work so hard? You're 62. It's gonna be that way. No, it's not. Doesn't have to be. Not gonna happen. No. I went from a size 16 to a size 8 pair of jeans. And I feel better in my skin than I have felt in years. I feel better, I feel sexier, I feel healthier, you know, I'm still alive. I'm 62, but I'm still alive.
Yes, awesome. Praise God. And we talked about this before, and this is not like a loaded question, but it is something I think. Are you more proud that you're able to fit in the clothes or pick your granddaughter up, or the work that you did to get there?
The work that I did to get here.
Yeah, 100%. That's the difference, right?
It
Like,
is.
there's no way to celebrate because you experienced it when you lost the weight and put it back on. When you do it through like artificial ways, like if it's dieting or doing like some crazy medications that you see that are pushed out in the market all over the place and doctors prescribing all those things, weight loss surgery, because we've had even a number of those. You've worked with some of those women that they have the actual weight loss surgery and then they lose 100 pounds from weight loss and their stomachs are, short, shrunk. They put the clamps around them. And then what happens? Nothing changed except for the surgery. They didn't change their lifestyle. And that's really the difference. And I think really one of the things I've had the pleasure to see from you personally is you were already brave coming in by knowing you wanted to change. And then you just literally kind of amplified that over time when you started to build more confidence by getting your body back and having it. And that came from the results that you got from the work that you did, because the cliches, it sounds, you don't get the results from the work you don't do. Right.
Exactly.
We've talked to our clients all the time. We guarantee results for every single one of the men, women, and families now that come into our program, but you're required to do the work. Like,
Right.
we're not parents spoon feeding a baby food. It's
No.
basically you have to actually just do the work that we give you everything you need to succeed. And what's really great is I've seen you work really hard and you've had some obstacles and challenges to work through, but you kept moving and you kept being determined. And I think it comes back to what you shared is having that strong why. And your why
Yeah.
really changed, because I'm sure your why was first to fit in that leather dress, but then your granddaughter came along and now it's like, okay, the dress is great. That's kind of bonus, but I want to actually pick up my granddaughter and swing her around at 40 pounds, right? And do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can do that. And it's just wonderful. One of my favorite sayings is it's either do or not do. There is no try.
Yeah.
You
Awesome.
either
Well,
gonna do
let's go on that. What's something big you have planned for this new year coming up, going into your 63rd year?
it. Well, kind of it's three things and one thing I want to touch on. So my mother is 84 and she's part of this program. And I asked her, I said, Mom, what do you want for Christmas? You've got everything. She went, I want to go on a zip line with you. Okay. Boom. We'll
Now, wait,
just
this is your mom
we
wanting to do zip line. Gotcha. Awesome.
84. And I'm like, okay, we can definitely do that. So that's one thing. I'm going to start off on January the 4th in 75 hard. And this is something I've been toying with. I've started it 3 times, didn't. And we won't go into all that. If you want to
Yeah.
hear more about it, go into 75hard.com. But I want to do the entire 75 live program, all 3 phases. But the culmination is on or around my birthday. I want to complete and successfully complete the Army Women's Fitness Training Program for women in their 50s, because they don't even have one for their 60s.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
maybe you need to set one up for women in their 60s.
I know, right?
I mean, so you got three big things. So I heard you right. You want a zip line with how old's Miss Betty? 80.
84.
I don't think, yeah, that's crazy. And I had the pleasure to meet her and she's just, I mean, I know where you get it from. So she wants a zip line. So, might as well, since your mom wants to go zip lining, which I think is pretty
Like, oh,
awesome.
darn.
And then 75 hard program, which is a more mental challenge, not necessarily workout, but you will get in great shape. And that's, again, like she said, we won't talk about that now, but it is something that is very tough challenge. And then what was the third thing?
It's
Oh yeah,
finishing, yeah,
the
the Army Fitness
yeah,
Challenge.
Army Fitness Challenge, which is awesome. Great. So, you know what? And it's not the new year, and she's already thinking about that, and she probably already has a plan and putting it on her calendar. And that's the determination. And, she didn't just think about that overnight. She's been working on it. Again, that's
Right.
why she's not maintaining her life. She's pursuing the best and healthiest and happiest life that she can have. And now, obviously, you're a coach in our program that we've shared. Let's just kind of finish on here. What's something you can share with man, woman, or family member as far as for them, whether they, get in touch with us or not, to encourage them to maybe pursue something greater for themselves in the new year?
Wow, there's so many going through my head. If I had to pick one, is you only get one time around this planet. You get one.
Hmm.
Why don't you make it the best one and the best you possible? Whatever that looks like for you, but the healthiest, the fittest, the happiest, the best you that you could possibly make for yourself. And then it's going to exude out of you and other people are going to see it. And that's the best thing. You make an impact on people that you don't even realize you're making an impact on when you're living your best you.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. I think we'll finish there too. Where's one place I know where I can find you because we have our connections and stuff through our back end, but what's the easiest way if people want to connect with you to find you?
Basically either personal message me if you want specific questions, but I'm on Facebook, Lanette Duncan.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And just so you guys know that we're going to end it here. We really appreciate. Thank you, Lynette, so much for coming on. I know you got family there and to be around, and it's a holiday season, so I want you to go and enjoy them and enjoy being Gigi, right? And
I will, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Merry Christmas. Listen, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to help support the show and our mission, even Coach Lanette too, our mission is to help you become braver today than you were yesterday. Subscribe to the show, share it with your friends. Really, really appreciate it. And then also, if you want to stay up to date with the Brave Today show and get behind the scenes content, you can follow me currently on social media platforms, but we have something new coming in the new year. So be on the lookout. More to come on that. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed holiday and happy new year as well. All right. Exactly. Take care and God bless.
Bye-bye.